Hey, I'm Audrey Hope. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Hope for Relationships. I am the Soul Love Healer. And today we're going to hear from Lawrence from San Francisco, who wants to know what we all want to know. What is death, really? Please join me. Healing is so unbelievably simple. You do what needs to be done, and that's it. Over. Problem solved. Thanks for joining me so we can heal all our issues from the deep level of the soul. Lawrence from San Francisco writes, I lost my lover a few years ago to cancer, and I sometimes feel him around me, especially when I wake up in the early morning. I feel like he is trying to talk to me. When I tell people about this, they think I'm crazy. They think I have not accepted his passing, even after all these years. Why are people so afraid of death and the fact that we can talk to the other side? Lawrence, it is so true. We have evolved so much technologically, but on the issue of death, not so much. It is a frightening subject. So let's see if we could shed some light on death. Well, obviously, we all see the world around us, the miracle, the light, the sun, the stars, the flowers. It's such a wondrous universe. And there's birth, and we know that we come from this place that there's got to be more, because everything is so wonderful. We also know that energy doesn't die, it just transforms. And then we have all this evidence, which I also have today. I have this fabulous thing to share with you at the end of this segment. But near-death experiences there are so many. I mean, people who have been blind, who have never seen anything in their lives. When they have died, they have gone over their bodies and they have seen for the first time, and they have come back to talk about it. Then there's all these children, these 3-4-year-olds with birthmarks from past lives from the other side that see things. And all these studies being done. So there is so much evidence. What do we really know spiritually about death? Well, we know that it teaches us so much. It's a game with very high stakes. And this is a game that must be played that way. The angel of forgetfulness has kissed us for a reason. We don't take things for granted. We are broken. We are torn apart by death. And we learn so much, because this is how we grow. What is it, really, spiritually speaking? Some call it an adventure, moving into a new vibration. And it is a frequency we can't communicate with, because it is a different frequency than those of us here on Earth. But imagine, just imagine for 1 second, that you knew your loved one was going to this amazing place where there was music, where there was unconditional love, where there was so much creativity and beauty. Would you really be afraid? Would you really be unhappy if you knew they were going to this place? Well, that's how to look at death. It is a wondrous place. And the documents that we have, the documented evidence that we have, it's always the same. You leave your body, you still have your senses about you. You go through this tunnel of light in this amazing force field where you're greeted by your relatives, and there's like a party for you. And then you have time to rest, you have time to review your life, and then maybe decide what it is you want to do next. This is all the same from the hundreds and hundreds of people who have been dead for a certain amount of time, and they all say the same. What do we spiritually know about death? We need to know certain things spiritually, okay? It'll make it easier for us. We know that the soul has a sovereign choice to stay or not to stay. We think that we can interfere with that soul choice, but that isn't really true. Maybe there's a little leg room, but it's almost like there's a curriculum. There's something we've decided before we've come here, and there's not much room to change it. So we suffer so much from thinking we could have done something for our daughters, our fathers, our friends, to help them stay. What a relief it is to know that that really isn't true. The soul makes the decision. And it's also important to know that where we are on Earth is really where we are when we leave here. This is where the law of attraction comes in. Our frequency matches. It's not like we're not evolved and then all of a sudden we go to the other side and we are evolved. This isn't true. There is a match for exactly where we are. And it matters what we do. People have come back who said that they've reviewed their lives because of what they've seen, and then they've changed. So it matters what you do. And grief really is a toxic force, and you must take care of it by releasing it externally. Like Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross has said, who is the expert on dying, has said it has to be externally released from your body so it doesn't create toxic energy. You can't just be rational. You actually have to take this atomic bomb of sadness out of your body. And so what makes grief harder is if you're unresolved with the person. Maybe there's something you should have said. Maybe there's something you should have done, which makes it so important for us to keep our relationships clean. I have heard so many times my clients say, well, when he dies, it'll be over. No, it's not true. This is where the karma comes in, because it stays with us. Death does not end it. So it's good to be cautious of your relationships and take care of them for yourself, because spiritually we are here to graduate on our own. There is such a thing as non-interference, which means we are in our class to see how we do, and it doesn't so much matter about other people. This is a spiritual truth. So it's how we do and how the play with that person reflects onto us. You know, there's a beautiful poem by Gibran, and it says, you know, your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you, for life goes not backwards, nor tarries with yesterday. And there's more. But this is about that we don't own each other, especially our children. We don't own our children. We have to be free, and free as souls, to let everyone do what they must. And there would be a lot of relief in that way. Now, I have this amazing story, which I want to share with you. And I don't know if you know about this, but there is actual proof of life after death. And this has to do with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, the Swiss psychiatrist who was the expert on death and dying. She wrote the book. She wrote, of course, about the 5 stages of grief, which she later regretted saying because she said there is no real order to it. She had this experience where she was doing near-death experience knowledge in the University of Chicago, and she met this woman who had been resuscitated after being dead for 45 minutes, who was at this event. They met. The woman lived, but then she died, and her name was Mrs. Schwartz. Well, one day, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross had decided that she's going to stop her classes, and she was going to quit. So she goes up to her office. She's exhausted in her elevator, goes up to her office, and she sees the person she has to tell, I'm going to leave my job. But she gets distracted by seeing a woman who looks very familiar. So she's distracted, doesn't get to say what she needs to say to quit her job, and goes to follow the woman and says, I know you. And there it was, Mrs. Schwartz, who was dead for 10 months, buried and gone. Now, Dr. Ross said, I must be dreaming. I'm working too hard. I need a vacation. How could you be here if you're gone? And Mrs. Schwartz said to her, you are not to leave your position. The world needs to know about near-death experiences. Do not quit. So Dr. Ross said, I'm a scientist. This cannot be happening. I need you to write a letter to prove that you're here, which this woman did. And this letter is now proof that there is life after death, and it isn't in a museum, and this is a documented story. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. So really, Lawrence, you're right. People should not be so freaked out about talking to the other side. And there's ways to actually do that. You can contact the other side, but they're so afraid that they might scare you. So you can say before you sleep at night, meet me on a bridge. Come to me, I'm not afraid. Show me, give me a message. And you could meet your loved one in a dream. So experiment with it. Because now in this time period, as we move into this new frontier of the soul. This is just going to be second nature to us. So Lawrence, thank you for your question. Thank you so much. We all need to be less afraid of death. And I'm Audrey Hope, and this is Hope for Relationships. Thank you. If you have a soul question, you can write to me in the comments below, or you can contact me on my Facebook, my Instagram, my Twitter. The links are in the description box. And don't forget to like and subscribe so we can continue to heal all our relationship, our soul issues, our life issues from the deep level of the soul. I'm Audrey Hope. Thanks for joining me. Hey, if you like my videos, and I hope you do, then subscribe and click. Are you gonna click? Come on, click here now. Let's go.